Hello and welcome to today's workshop challenge, turning a single piece of jewellery into a set. Hear ye, I have a very special announcement to make. Do you remember that cross pendant that I made a few weeks ago? Yes, no, maybe? Well, if you can't remember, it's this one here. Remember it now? Good. Well, this lovely pendant has just given birth to two beautiful bouncing baby earrings. If you follow me on my Instagram at Lorna Design, you may have already heard this happy news because I posted about it a couple of days ago. Sorry, spoiler alert. I should really get better at containing my news when I'm going to release a video about it, but I just get too excited and I just need to throw it out there and sorry guys, spoiler. But today you actually get to see how this wonderful news happened. So what happened? Well, on completing this very special cross for a very special occasion, which was a 90th birthday, if you remember, I was getting it ready and gift wrapped and packaged and ready to send off when I got a phone call from my client. Dun, dun, dun. Turns out that they were absolutely blown away by this design and this pendant, and they asked me if I could turn this simple pendant into a birthday set by designing a set of matching earrings to go with it. And obviously my answer was, of course I can. I was over the moon at hearing how happy my client was that I just actually ran up straight away to my workshop and just started working on it that very day. Now, making a matching set isn't as easy as you might think. You might be thinking, well, surely you've already got the design, you just reproduce it and just make it smaller and make it into a pair of earrings. Well, actually that doesn't always work. You see, a lot of designs need to be readapted for their new setting. For instance, what works for a pendant might not work for a pair of earrings. And this was definitely one of those cases because basically I needed to take this design and shrink it down to a tiny pair of studs. And if I were to transform the exact same design and shrink it to a tiny pair of studs, it would have actually looked really clunky and messy and chunky, and it would have taken away from the elegance and delicacy that was the essence of the pendant itself and the design itself. So I had to slightly reimagine the design for the studs while still keeping that design element and style so that they would clearly be matching. So I had a little play around with ideas in both materials and in sketches, and I came up with this final sketch idea. Now that I had my plan, I just needed to make it. First things first. As this design centered heavily on granulation, I started off by making loads of silver granules. I then cut a small length of silver tube for my central tube setting, which will hold a lovely amethyst when I'm done. Once I have tube and granules, I can solder them onto a thin sheet of silver and start forming the top half of the cross. Once that is soldered, I can cut away the excess silver and pop it into the pickle. The pickle, for those of you who don't know, is a cleaning solution, and it is basically a hot cleaning solution that takes away all the gunk that happens while I'm soldering bits together. Another word for this gunk is fire stain. So basically I take all this stain that's happened from the heat of the fire and I pop it into the pickle to take it off and make it nice and bright and white so that I can then continue on working with it. While I'm waiting for the top part of the cross to pickle, I can start cutting and preparing the three legs that constitute the bottom part of the cross. I can solder them together, add the granulation on top and then pickle them as well. Once they are both clean and pickled, I can solder the top part of the cross to the bottom half of the cross, joining them together to form a hole. I can then add on the additional granules that I want to put on there and pickle it once again. My next step is to file, sand and polish the earrings so that basically they are completely finished before I set the stone. The setting part of the process is always the very last thing to happen during a making process. It's like the cherry on top. You wouldn't put the final decorative touches on cake batter. You need to wait for the cake to bake and then you put the cherry on top. So that cherry is your stone setting. Now that they are nice and shiny, I can set the amethyst. The amethysts are quite small, so I will need the help of my trusty Optivisors to do this. Once they are both set, I give them a final clean and voila! A pair of matching earrings. What do you think? I'm rather happy with them, I must say. I think they work really well as a matching set, even they are not absolutely identical to the cross, but I think there's enough of the essence of the cross and the essence of the design that they work perfectly as a set. I've already shown them to my client, who is over the moon about them, which makes me over the moon about them, and I hope that the person they're gifting it to will be equally over the moon about this lovely set. And then we can be a bunch of astronauts all together over the moon. No? Okay, fair enough. Well, I hope you've had fun today seeing how I transform a single item of jewellery into a set. And who knows, I may be called upon to expand this set even further to include maybe a ring, a brooch, a hair ornament, who knows? Or maybe my next challenge will be designing and making a set for you. If that's the case, you know where to find me through my social media at Lorna Design or through my website lornaromanenghi.com. Thanks for joining me today, and if you've enjoyed this video then please don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel and click the notifications button, which will keep you up to date to my weekly videos. And on that note, see you next week for a new and exciting jewellery video.